Hello and welcome back to this tutorial. In our previous tutorials, we've been able to work with Git locally on our file. Now we are going to move on to GitHub, and that is where we can host our folders as a Git repository. All right, so without further ado, let us move on to our browser. So if you want to create a GitHub account, you just go to github.com, and when you click this link, you will land on this page. So you can choose to sign in if you already have an account, or then you sign up. So if you want to sign up, you hit the sign up button. You can just sign up with your Google account or your Apple account, or you can enter your details manually and create account. Okay, so right now I am going to navigate to sign in because I already have an account. So I'm just going to sign into this account. Now, this is an empty GitHub account that I just created for the sake of this video, and I've not created any repository yet. All right. So, and this is where I'm going to be pushing all the changes that we made on our local repository. Okay, that is the folder we were working with in our system. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is that I am going to create like a folder. Now you can view your repository as like your folder, your directory that contains your project. So I'm going to create a repository for this particular work, and here I'm going to create the repository. So I'm going to call it modules and packages. Now GitHub checks and sees that I've not created any repository called modules and packages before. And you may be wondering, why did I use the same exact name that I used to save my folder name to create this repository? Well, the convention is that you use the same name, but you do not have to. So far you set the upstream to be this repository, your local files will be pushed to this repository. So the next thing you're going to do is to add a little description, and I'll just say first repo. Okay, so I can choose to make it private, or I can make it public. Now there is a file that is usually almost compulsory that you must have on every repository, and that file is called readme.md. So when you're creating your repository, you can decide to add a readme file from here, or you just turn it off and then you create a readme file from your local repository. So I'm not going to add git ignore, and I'm not going to add license, at least for now. Then I am going to create this repository. Okay, now we have this command popped up for us, and you can see all the commands that we've been writing down on our local repository. So we have used this git init, but we've not added a readme file. So, and a readme file is a markdown file. So this MD means markdown, and it is a file that enables the users of your project, or the people that will visit your repository to know about your project, to know everything about your project. All right, so you can check out on how to create a proper markdown file for your repository on any learning platform, and you will learn how to do that. But for starters, you can just write a random text into the markdown file, and it will be pushed to GitHub for you without issues. The next thing you're going to be looking at is the commit. So we've done a lot of commits, right? And we have changed the name of the master branch to main. That is what this particular command is meant for. So the only commands we've not written here is git remote add this URL, right? And then we have not. So all of this command is what you will write if you have not initially set up your Git on your local machine. But now we have an existing repository, and that is the folder we've been working with and we've been using Git on. So, and we have already done this. So the only thing we need to do on our local repository is to add this and then run our git push, right? So now I'm going to just copy this code. So I'll copy this first line of code, and here in my terminal I'm going to just paste. So, and I'll run this. So what just happened is that we have connected this folder to the folder that we created on GitHub, right? And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to write this git push origin main. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So, but before I do that, I want to create a readme file. So you can create it manually here by just creating a new file and entering readme.md. So the .md is going to be in small letter, or you can from the terminal here just write a command that says touch. So remember that we are in this folder, so you just say touch readme in capital letter .md. All right. So, and this markdown file has been created. All right. So we are now going to run our git add and all that, so that this our markdown file will now be added to git. So we are going to do git add, so I can decide to just add only that readme.md, and then git commit. Okay, so I didn't write that, so I'm going to write git commit, and I'm going to call it added readme. And right now I'm going to run the next command that we copied from here. So I'm going to write git push origin main. So this command is simply telling Git to push this particular file to the main branch. All right, so remember that we have multiple branches here. So if you view this, you can see that we have up to 4 branches here right now. So but we are pushing this particular main branch to main. So now we're going to run that, and now we have this pop-up to sign in, all right, to verify that we are the one that is trying to push to GitHub. And that is because we have not set up our personal access token yet. So I am going to just click on sign in with my browser. So, and here you can see that my browser is open, and I'm going to type in my username, and then I'm going to type in my password. So I'm going to go ahead to click on authorize Git ecosystem, and if I go back to my terminal, okay, I can see now that my push request has been completed. So I'll go back to my Chrome browser where my GitHub is currently signed in, and I'm going to refresh this page. So now you can see now that all of those files that we created are now hosted on this GitHub, right? Now I can also decide to push the other branches. The next thing we are going to do is that we are going to check out to the other branches, and I'm going to do git checkout. So we have new branch 1, and you can see now that we have some changes in this new branch. So I can do my git push upstream. So this U stands for upstream. Then I'll write origin, and I'm going to add this new branch, right? So I'm going to type in new branch 1, and I will run it. So as you can see now, the other branch has been pushed, and I'm going to go over to my browser now. And now you can now see that we have a new branch coming in, and GitHub is asking us to compare the changes that are in both branches. Okay, so I could click here to create a pull request. So I'm going to click compare and pull request. And by the time you create pull request, you can copy this code, this link, and give to your team members, and then they will look at them and probably add their comments. And then after they add their comments, they come, and here GitHub is telling us that there are no conflicts. All right, so and then I'm going to merge and then confirm merge. Okay, so we have successfully merged the 2 branches, and now we don't have any pull requests. And if we go back to the repository, we can now see that if we go to that main.py file, we have all of our codes, and with the changes that we have are the ones from the new branch 1. Okay, and if I look at this branches, I can now see that I have main branch and new branch 1. So I hope you understand how this works, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to us through the mentorship platform or through the comment section. So thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.